Here we are on the notes for 4.12. The scale factor is 8% for a scale drawing. So it says in the first part here, compare the corresponding lengths of figure A to the original octagon in the middle. This is an example of a particular type of drawing called A. So figure A to the example, getting smaller, right? This is called a reduction. Explain why it is called that. Well, the lengths are getting smaller. Now the next one says compare the corresponding lengths of figure B to the original octagon in the middle. So that's the one below. This is an example of a particular type of scale drawing called an enlargement. Explain why that is. Well, the lengths are getting bigger. Okay, so those are some of the basics. The scale factor is the quotient of any length in the scale drawing to its corresponding length in the actual drawing. So we have talked about this. What this is really going over again is that it's always scale over the original. Or another way to think about this is the part over the whole. We've talked about this for like months now. So that's nothing new. Now it says, using the diagram, complete the chart to determine the horizontal and vertical scale factors. Write answers as a percent and as a concluding statement using the previously learned reduction and enlargement vocabulary. So what we're going to do here in the first one is we're comparing the original to figure A. And remember, it's always scale over the original. So if we're comparing the original to figure A, the scale, which is figure A, the horizontal measurements, this would be 1.5 over 3. And when you simplify that, that's like 1/2. When we do the vertical ones, it would be 2 over 4, which would also be 1/2. So what we can say here is that figure A is 1/2 or 50% of the original. That's why we said it was a reduction. Now, when we compare the original to figure B, so figure B, the horizontal measurement, that was 4.5 over 3, which would be 1 1/2. The vertical measurement was 6 to 3, or sorry, not 6 to 3, 6 to 4, which would also be 1 1/2. So here we could say figure B is 1 1/2 or 150% of the original. All right, and then you can go ahead and flip the page. On the second page here, it says, create a snowman on the accompanying grid. Use the octagon given as the middle of the snowman with the following conditions. So calculate the width, neck, and height for the figure on the right. So the neck part, right, that would be this portion here. I'm going to label that number 1. So the neck, when you count how long that is, it's 12 units long. Okay. The width, and what the width would be considered here would be the longest section across the middle. I'll label this number 2. And when you count that out, that is 20. And then the height, which would be the height across the tallest portion, up and down here, I'm going to call that number 3. And that would be 12. Part B says, to create the head of the snowman, make a scale drawing of the middle of the snowman with a scale factor of 75%. Calculate the new lengths for the width, neck, and height. So to take our neck calculation, we are going to do 12 times that scale factor, but as a decimal. So times 0.75, and you would get 9. And we're going to do the same thing for the width. So we would take the 20 times 0.75, and you'd get 15. And then the height, it would take 12 again times 0.75, and you'd get 9 again. All right. So to start drawing that, so then I'm going to do this in a different color. Do this one in orange. So the neck would be 9. Now you can't exactly center it because it's 12. So you want to count, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to do the height next, which is also 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm going to draw another line up top there. Now, the one thing we haven't talked about are the diagonals. And the diagonals we'll talk about more in a second day because they kind of require 2 measurements. Because they're not always the nicest drawn. So for the diagonals here, we would have to go over. All right, so how long it is over. So diagonals. Over is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times, 0.75 times 0.75. And 4 times 0.75 is 3. All right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're lucky here that it's 4 both ways, going over and down. So to do our diagonals, we will go over 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3. So that's one diagonal I did on the left. Over 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3. And then same thing here. So up 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3. I can connect those. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the reason why we have to do it in parts is we don't know how to calculate the length of the diagonal line. So that is the head. You know, the height, I guess you could double check and make sure that across the middle portion here you actually get 15. All right, that's all I want to do for now. The second part does say that you can draw the bottom of the snowman. So we can just do the calculations instead of just drawing it. So for the neck, here the scale factor is an enlargement, so it's 125%. So this would be 12 times 1.25, which would give you 15. The width would be 20 times 1.25, which would be 25. And then the height would be 12 times 1.25 again, which is 15. Okay. But it gets a little redundant. So those are really the main ideas for now, and then we'll do some more practice together in class.